The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your wallet to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. They've got three great qualities that you need in order to be a great car dealership. Number one, they have a great sales department. These people are not going to sell you a lemon. They will not screw you. These people, they're good at what they do, and they will sell you a really nice car, whether it be new or slightly used. Number two, they got a great finance department because, I mean, let's be honest for a second. Let's be real honest. If you're signing pen to paper on a 4-year loan, 5-year, 6-year, 7-year loan, you sure as hell don't want to pay out the wazoo for an interest rate. You know, and some of us that have not so good credit, you don't want to be punished by saying, oh, we're going to be charging you, the highest interest rate possible. So, you know, you're actually going to be paying a whole lot more for this automobile. No. They're going to try to get you the best deal that they possibly can. This finance department is outstanding. And finally, the service department, because sooner or later, whether it's an oil change, whether it's, you know, maintenance on the car, or God forbid, you get yourself into an automobile accident and your baby has to go into the shop to get some new parts, and that could be a hassle. Well, the service department at Greenwood Chevrolet is top-notch as well. Add it all up, it is a phenomenal car dealership. So if you are in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you need to check out Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown before you put pen to paper and sign the next 4 to 7 years of your life away in terms of car payments. That's all there is to it. All right. We're with you till 3 o'clock. Coming up at 2 o'clock, we will hear from the manager of the YSU baseball team, Dan Bertolini. Penguins did their job. They swept Oakland over the weekend. And look, how many times did we sit back and say, okay, you really got to take care of the teams that are nowhere near the top four? Because as everyone knows, and if you're new to the program, howdy. if you're new to the program, and if you're new to the program, please disregard the ugliness that you're looking at. I got a face made for radio, and I have said that for years, and a lot of people tend to agree with it. So there you go. But if you are new to the show, I have been saying for quite some time, top four in the Horizon League are going to make the Horizon League double elimination tournament to see which team will go to the field of 64 when we get the NCAA tournament started late next month. Before the weekend, Oakland was in last place. They were 3-13 in the league. Youngstown State was 14-11 in the league, and they were in fourth place at the time. And the Penguins, well, they needed to take care of business. They needed to just blow out this team and leave no doubt. And that is exactly what they did. They left no doubt as to the job that YSU is currently trying to nail down, and that is to get a top 4 position in the Horizon League. Mission accomplished this past weekend. They swept Oakland. All right, so the Penguins are on a 5-game winning streak. They're 17-11 in the conference, 22-17 overall. By the way, here's a couple of things of note. And maybe with no disrespect whatsoever to this baseball program, the fact that 17 conference wins is already an all-time high, and 22 wins overall is the highest this team has achieved in a long, L-O-N-G, long time. It pretty much tells you where the state of this program was. It tells you where the state of this program was. YSU did not have a good baseball program. I'll flat out say it. They didn't have a good baseball program. Now, we have seen some glimpses of some pretty cool things. Youngstown State has gone to the Field of 64 2 times. In the late 90s or early 21st century, they went into the NCAA tournament and was beaten twice and did not get any victories. They were 2 games eliminated, and that was the end of that. 2000 and I want to say 16. I want to say 2016 was the last time they went to the Horizon League tournament. They got hot. This was a team that was below 500. But they got hot at the right time. They won the Horizon League. They went to the NCAA regional tournament, which you go to one of 16 regions. You're one of 4 teams. I believe the Penguins were the 3 or the 4. They actually won a game. They did not win the first round game. They won the loser bracket game and then lost in the 3rd game. So there was a little bit of progress, being that they were 2 and through the first time they went to the NCAA tournament. This last time, about 5 or 6 years ago, they actually won a game in the region, so they finished 1 and 2, but they were still eliminated. This year, again, the fact that they've won 17 Horizon League games, you've already set a high for most Horizon League games won. This team has been in the Horizon League for quite some time. So that can tell you right there that where this program was before Dan Bertolini took it over. And, unfortunately last year, being that it was the COVID year, we kind of sort of saw glimpses of how good this team could be. They were 7-7 before everything was shut down. Now you're looking at this team, and I got news for you. This team is a absolute threat to win the Horizon League. Now it's going to be tough because Wright State is ridiculously good. They just are. They're ridiculously good. But this is the same YSU team that took 3 out of 4 from Wright State at Eastwood Field in Niles. So they can play with this team. But there's going to be 2 other teams that are going to be in the postseason. Right now, the focus is on the hottest team in the Horizon League, and it's not Youngstown State. YSU has won 5 games in a row, 17-11 in the conference, 22-17 overall, and a 5-game winning streak is solid, but it's not the best winning streak in the conference. That belongs to Youngstown State's opponent this week. UIC is on an 8-game winning streak. They are 16-10 in the conference, 17-15 overall. They just swept Milwaukee. Milwaukee began last weekend in 2nd place. They are now in 4th place, having been swept, and Milwaukee is now on a 5-game losing streak. As a matter of fact, if you look at the standings, the top 3 teams are on winning streaks, albeit Wright State's a modest 2-game winning streak. The bottom 4 teams, Milwaukee's on a 5-game losing streak. Northern Kentucky's on a 5-game losing streak. Purdue Fort Wayne is on a 7-game losing streak. Oakland's on a 5-game losing streak. That's the bottom 3. Milwaukee is in 4th place. They are currently 3 better than Northern Kentucky in the loss column, 2 games better in the standings than Northern Kentucky. And we made mention of this yesterday. You can now start the magic number for the Penguins to go into the conference tournament. The magic number right now is sitting at 9. And that is any combination of Youngstown State victories and Northern Kentucky losses. Anything of Youngstown State wins and Northern Kentucky losses equaling 9 means Youngstown State is going into the Horizon League tournament. Penguins will be in Chicago taking on UIC, the 2 hottest teams in the conference, setting up to do battle. The Penguins and UIC, I believe UIC is percentage points better than the Penguins for second place. Make no mistake about it. If the Penguins can do what they did the last time these 2 teams played at Eastwood, Youngstown State winning 3 out of 4, well, if the Penguins win 3 out of 4 again, Penguins are in second place. Nobody's catching Wright State. Look, Wright State's 15-3 in the conference. They're not going to play the same amount of games as Youngstown State, and mainly because Wright State had a COVID issue that shut them down for 2 consecutive weekends. 8 conference games were lost. Wright State is not going to be able to have the same amount of conference games as Youngstown State, and Wright State's only lost 3 conference games. Penguins have lost 11. So Wright State's up 8 in the loss column. And now, looking at this, the Penguins currently are down 3 games to Wright State. But like I said, Wright State doesn't lose very often in the Horizon League. And I don't think their schedule is such left where you're thinking they're going to stub their toe. It's probably not going to happen. But for the Penguins, if you can get to second place, you don't have to play Wright State in the first round. If you get to second or stay in third place, you're not playing Wright State in the first round. And when the conference tournament starts, assuming Wright State stays in first place, which I believe they're going to do, they would play the 4th place team, which is right now Milwaukee, and the tournament would be held in the home of the regular season champs, which would be Wright State. The tournament would be in Dayton, on campus at Wright State University, down in the beautiful city of Dayton, Ohio. So Wright State would play Milwaukee if the playoffs were to start today, if the tournament, I should say, were to start today. Wright State would play Milwaukee. UIC would play Youngstown State. And I'm pretty comfortable in saying Colin Floyd on the mound. I got my ticket to the winner's bracket championship game. Based on what Colin Floyd has done, I got a pretty good feeling that the Penguins can take care of business there. And then you would play the winner of Wright State and Milwaukee in the winner's bracket. And ultimately, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because there's a lot of baseball to be played, but it needs to be said. You win 2 games in the Horizon League tournament, you're golden. You're freaking golden. Because now you're the only undefeated team left. And the only way you don't make the field of 64 if somebody beats you not once, but twice. So if the Penguins, assuming they stay where they are and they finish in the top 4, and we get to the Horizon League tournament, and the Penguins win their first 2 games, barring a complete collapse where they would lose 2 games in a row, Penguins are going to the field of 64. So that's how important winning the first and second game of the tournament truly is. But there's a way to go, a long way to go yet. I mean, the Penguins still have, I believe, 12 league games still to be played. They're playing UIC And then Purdue Fort Wayne for 4 at Eastwood Field, May the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then after a non-league weekend series in Louisville, they will be taking on Milwaukee to close up shop at Eastwood Field on May the 21st, doubleheader on the 22nd, single game on Sunday, May the 23rd. So there's 12 games left in the league season for Youngstown State. 8 of those 12 games are going to be played at Eastwood Field, where the Penguins have been really, really dominant at Eastwood Field. So one would think if things continue to percolate as they have been, Penguins are going to be a Final Four or a top 4 team, which will put them in the Horizon League tournament, where if they win 3 consecutive games in the tournament, they're in the field of 64. All they would need to do is win 3 consecutive games, and they're in the field of 64, and that's where the fun starts. And I think this team could most definitely do that. This is probably at this point right now. I don't want to say that you know, I don't want to fast forward anything, but at this point right now, this might be the best Youngstown State team we've seen in about 40 years. 30 or 40 years. Or let me put it to you this way. This might be the best Youngstown State baseball team we've seen since YSU became a Division I program. And that's been a while. That's how good this team is right now. So we'll catch up with the manager of Youngstown State and their baseball program, Dan Bertolini, coming up at 2 o'clock. Speaking of baseball, and we got to throw some softball in there as well, but since we were on the subject of baseball, last night a big, and I do mean big, All-American Conference game took place at Boardman between Canfield and Boardman. This is a Canfield team that began the night 4-0 in the All-American Conference red tier, 13-0 overall. Spartans were 1-3 in the league, 10-5 overall. So these two teams were going to do some battling. Boardman started out slow, but they have since turned it on. Now, not necessarily in the league, but they have turned it on in terms of their win-loss record. They were below 500 for a good chunk of this season. They have since turned it on. And these two teams went at it. And Canfield jumped on them early, thanks to some shoddy defense by the Spartans. They kicked it around. They were committing a couple of errors in the first inning, and it came back to bite them. I mean, when you play a team the status of Canfield, and we've been talking about this, and certainly we don't want to put any pressure on Canfield, but the reality is they're the best team in this area. They just are. They're the best baseball team in this area. I don't necessarily think that they're the best chance that we have to win a state championship. I think that South Range might provide a better chance, given the fact that South Range is Division III, Canfield is Division II. There's a whole lot more obstacles in the road for Canfield than there is for South Range. That's my opinion, and it's not based upon what we're seeing in terms of divisions. It's what is in the division. There's a lot of top shelf talent in Division II, more such statewide in Division II than in Division III. Although this area in Division III, good God, is this area good in Division III. But be that as it may, Canfield is certainly a fantastic team. And when you give the Cardinals an opportunity to strike and you give them free base runners, they're going to make you pay for it. And the guy that made them pay for it is the sophomore, A.J. Havrilla. He doubled in the over the center fielder's head. I believe it either touched the wall or went near the center field wall. That was 2-0, and then a base hit by Landon Beidelshees And I always butcher that kid's name. Landon, I apologize. I'm sorry. But Canfield gets a 3-0 lead. Well, Boardman said, okay, we can take care of business. Bases loaded. Anthony Budo, left center field alley shot. Bases cleared. 3-3 tie. And then the Cardinals said, okay, well, we can take care of business then. Havrilla got his third run batted in. Sacrifice fly. Ryan Petro scores. And there we go. Canfield winds up winning the game 5-3. Again, the early inning troubles defensively for Boardman, that kind of led to the 3-run explosion. And again, you cannot give a team as quality as Canfield an opportunity to have free base runners. I mean, look, we've said this, and it's not just Canfield. Any quality team, any good team. Look, I mean, I've thrown out arbitrary numbers, and we'll do it again. If you commit 3 errors in a game, and you wind up walking 5 guys during the course of a game, that's 8 base runners. That's 8 base runners that should have never been on base. Now, you take each runner as an out, and we're looking at 2 2/3 innings worth of out. 8 free base runners, 3 outs in an inning, so 3, take 3 off, you leave 5. Take 3 more off, you leave 2. So there you go. 2 2/3 innings worth of free baseball. You have to look at it like this. If you're playing a 7-inning game and you've walked 5 and you've kicked it around for 3 errors, you're basically now playing 9 2/3 innings worth of baseball. You've given your opponent 9 2/3 innings worth of baseball in a 7-inning game. You can't do that. Not against a team like Canfield. Not against a team that is top shelf quality. You just can't do that. You can't. And you certainly can't expect to win when that happens. So, again, Canfield gets the victory. They go to 14-0 on the season. They're just having an absolutely fantastic campaign. 14-0, 5-0 in the All-American Conference Red Tier. Boardman falls to 10-6, 1-4 in the AAC Red Tier. And the good news is these two teams are going to hook horns again. A little rematch. This time it's at Canfield. Yesterday it was at Boardman. Today, a gorgeous day. In the words of the late, great Joe Tate, it's a beautiful night for baseball. Well, it's going to be a beautiful afternoon, early evening for baseball in Canfield. Cardinals and Spartans rematch this afternoon at Canfield. It's a 5 o'clock first pitch, and I cannot wait to see this game. And I'm off. I have a rare off day today. I can't wait to see this game. This is going to be one of my must-see games, and this definitely going to be a must-see game. All right, some other action from yesterday. Cardinal Mooney getting a victory over Howland. They get the job done despite committing 2 errors. Mooney gets the job done. They scored 2 runs each. Did a little Noah's Ark baseball in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings. They got their runs 2 by 2. So Mooney gets the 6-2 victory over Howland yesterday. Niles defeating Jefferson 10-7 up in Niles. Some other NE8 games. South Range, what a performance by Brandon Mikos. And keep in mind, again, Brandon Mikos was supposed to be the number 2 pitcher on this South Range team. A lot of people need to understand just how good South Range is this year. Jay Gehring was supposed to be the ace on this team. I mean, he's been the ace for the last, 2 years. Well, he didn't play baseball last year. He would have been the ace last year. He was the ace their sophomore year. I believe he was the 2 starter his freshman year. Well, he had Tommy John surgery, so he's out for the season and then some. Mikos has stepped up. Oh, my goodness, has this kid stepped up. 17 punch-outs, 1 walk, 2 hits shutout as South Range knocks off Struthers last night, 6-0. Just 2 hits allowed for Mikos in the victory as South Range comes up with a 5 spot in inning number 2 and then scored another run in the 5th inning. Final score 6-0. So 1 bad inning for Struthers. Other than that, it's a pitcher's duel. But that 1 bad inning certainly cost him. Pitcher's duel, speaking of which, in the MVAC Scarlet tier, what a pitcher's duel last night up in North Jackson. Gavin Solly, 9 punch-outs, 2 walks. He outpitches Alex Rothwell, and both guys deserved a much, much better fate. Jackson Milton scores 2 runs in the bottom half of inning number 6. And I don't know if these runs were earned or not. Springfield committed 3 errors in the game. And again, it bears repeating. That's an extra inning worth of baseball. 3 free base runners is another extra inning worth of baseball. And I saw Rothwell walk 3 batters. Well, there's another extra inning. So you're talking 9 innings of baseball instead of 7. Well, actually, 8 innings of baseball instead of 6. Jackson Milton was the home team. Springfield did not tie the game in the top of the 7th inning, so Jackson Milton didn't have to bat in the bottom of the 7th. The Blue Jays knocked off Springfield 2-0. Springfield had 1 hit in the ball game. Jackson Milton only had 5 hits. I mean, both of these kids pitched extraordinarily well. Unfortunately for Springfield, too many walks and too many errors. And it leads to a 2-0 victory for Jackson Milton. Hopping back into the NE8, Poland knocked off Girard 5-1. Let's see. We got to scoot over to the All-American Conference Red tier. Fitch beat Harding 11-1. Lawrence with a 13 strikeout performance. He didn't walk anybody. Harding had just 3 hits in the ball game. Fitch was up 1-0 going into the bottom of the 4th inning. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th to make it 3-0. After Harding scored their lone run in the top of the 4th, Fitch made it 5-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Excuse me. Harding had scored their run in the top of the 5th. My apologies. Fitch went up 5-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning, and then they exploded for 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning to mercy rule Harding 11-1. Those 2 teams will play up in Warren this afternoon. Skipping back over to the Scarlet tier in the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, I had an opportunity to umpire yesterday's game on the bases, Western Reserve against Sebring. Western Reserve scored a run in every single inning that they played. They scored 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 7 runs in the 3rd and 4th innings. They tacked on a run in the 5th inning. They beat Sebring 20-0 in the 5-inning affair. Sebring had no hits. It was a tough game for Sebring. It was a very, very tough game for Sebring. As they were beaten by Western Reserve. Skipping over to the gray tier, Champion and Crestview played. Not only baseball, they also played softball. Crestview was 2-1 after 3 innings. Champion had a 2-1 lead. After 4 innings, it was 3-2, and it was 3-2 going into the 6th inning when Champion scored 4 times in the top half of inning number 6. And they get the 7-2 victory over Crestview. Nathan Holt, 9 punch-outs, 3 walks for the victory as Champion knocks off Crestview. Close game until the top of the 6th inning when Champion scored 4 times to break open a close game and make it a 7-2 ball game. These 2 teams will play at Crestview tonight. The softball team, Champion, boy, did they flex their muscles. They scored 10 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning, and they jumped all over Caden Sutton. And Champion just they're good. And they're good. It's it's not the Champion team of that we are used to seeing in terms of how well they play, but 11-6, and they've had a stacked schedule. They're 6-2. I'm sorry, they're 7-0 in the gray tier of the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. Emma Gamont's pitched a 4-hit shutout, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Champion blows out Crestview 17-0. These two teams will play at Crestview tonight, and that should be an entertaining game to say the least. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. We'll take a timeout, take some phone calls. Last night, and we got to talk a little bit about this because Kevin Love from the Cavaliers did something that was, one very smart. And it was frustration boiling over, and it was quite immature of what Kevin Love did last night. If you weren't watching, we'll give you the breakdown on that, and we'll give you a little bit of the history leading up to the, I don't want to say brain fart, because I don't think it was. I just think Kevin Love was pissed off, and he lashed out in a pretty stupid way. But I'm not going to bury him like some of the people up in Cleveland have. I think that, under the circumstances of what led up to this last night, he's human, and I can understand why he did it, though I don't agree with it. We'll get to that, and we'll also get to some other things happening in the world of sports, and I'd love to hear everyone to talk a little bit about the NFL draft and anything else on your mind. Hit me up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit on a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. So last night, Cavaliers were playing the Toronto Raptors, and the Cavaliers, they're banged up. This has been a theme all year long in which the Cavaliers have had a tremendous amount of injuries. Larry Nance is now out for the rest of the year. He broke his thumb. Dylan Windler, the promising rookie from Murray State, has been shelved with some leg issues, and that's been a bothersome issue for him since his first year, which never got off the ground. He has had some issues, and hopefully, knock on wood, everything that's going on with the surgery that he just had, hopefully it is going to be the solution to what has been a problem for him for most, if not all, of his very brief NBA career. This has been a banged-up team. Yesterday, Kevin Love did something last night that a lot of people are calling him out on. There was late in the third quarter, Cavaliers were down by, I want to say, 6. Toronto had just scored a basket. Kevin Love was inbounding the basketball, and Kevin Love was furious, had a couple of no calls. The referee gave him the ball, to which Kevin Love, instead of catching the ball and throwing it inbounds, he instead went and batted the ball. I don't know, and here's the thing, and unfortunately, I haven't covered the Cavaliers this year. Otherwise, I would have loved to have asked him this question. Now, before we go any further, unfortunately with COVID, one of the things that has been taken away from coverage is you don't have access to the locker room. You don't have access to hardly anything. You're basically in a Zoom conference call with the head coach and one or two players that the Cavaliers select. So the journalists and the broadcasters and those that are covering the Cavaliers or the Browns or the Steelers, the Pirates, any major league team from Cleveland or Pittsburgh, the problem is in this world that we're living in, and hopefully for not much longer, in this world we're living in, the journalists and those that are covering the sports teams are not able to do their job. And that is, the job is to go into the locker room and start talking to the players and get, their viewpoints and whatnot. Had this been a normal particular evening, I'm sure that everyone and their brother and sister would have asked Kevin Love, what the hell were you thinking? Because for all I know, Kevin Love may have said, or may have thought, okay, I'm just going to, when he throws the ball to me, I'm going to bat it down and then catch it, as if to say, I'm pissed off, but I'm not going to say anything. And I can see that particular part of that, where somebody throws the ball to you, and instead of catching it, you're pissed off, so you want to bat it down, put it up in the air, and then grab it, and you kind of get your frustration out of without saying anything. But I don't know if that was the case or not because, nobody talked with Kevin Love because Kevin Love wasn't available because we got COVID, which sucks. But Kevin Love, the referee threw him the ball instead of catching the ball and then firing it to a teammate on an inbounds pass. Instead, ball comes to him and he goes, ah! And he bats the ball instead of down and straight up. He bats the ball outward, and a Toronto Raptor catches it. They wind up getting a 3-point shot that was nothing but net, and their 6-point deficit is now a 9-point deficit, and the coaching staff was just out of their mind angry at Kevin Love. Now, a little backstory to this. Kevin Love was fouled not once but twice the last 2 times down the floor. This is a guy that has missed 30-some-odd games this year because of a calf injury. The second time that he was fouled, which was no call, he was knocked to the ground, and he landed on his knee. Now, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Kevin Love isn't exactly the healthiest person. He's just not. He isn't exactly the healthiest person in the world. He has not exactly been the Iron Man for the Cavaliers. He has missed some games with some nagging injuries. So the idea that he landed on his knee, given the fact that he's already missed most of the season, okay, I could see where that sets him off. And when it's later determined, because I think when play stopped, he took the sleeve down from his knee, and you could see a gigantic floor burn on his knee. You can understand why he's pissed off. You can understand why he did what he did. However, dude, you're the leader of this team. You can't be setting an example like that. You can't do what you just did. I mean, I understand you're human, and we're all human, and we're all going to be angry at some point in time, especially when stuff's not going your way. I get it. I understand it. But you can't do that, especially with a young team, and especially when 7 of your teammates are injured and you only got 9 guys that are healthy, that are playing this basketball game, and this team's played their ass off until this problem occurred. I mean, they were only down by 4 points on this possession when Toronto scored to make it a 6-point game, and then Love did what he did. Toronto turns it into a 3-point make, and now instead of being down 4, now you're down 9. And essentially, you're pretty much toast. They didn't get very close, and they wound up losing the game to Toronto. Now, I'm not gonna, like I said, I won't bury Kevin Love like some of the morons in Cleveland, and they're morons, believe me. I understand people are going to be frustrated. I get that. I understand that. But you got to understand, Kevin Love wants to help this team. Okay, he's been frustrated the last couple of years because he's been missing an awful lot of time. And there's some people that are sitting back and saying, well, you know, this contract was a waste. Kevin Love shouldn't have signed this 3-year or 4-year, $120 million deal. Really now? So if I sat back and said, as an owner of a team, and I felt you were worth $30 million, you wouldn't sign this? Oh, no. I'm not worth this much. No. I can't sign this. Really? I call bullshit on that. Of course you'd sign a $30 million deal. Hell, if DJ sat back and said, hey, Ron, we ran into a ridiculous amount of money. Here's $30 million a year to do what you're doing. I'm not going to sit back and say no to anybody for $30 million. Hell yes, I'm going to take that and I'm going to be happy. You can't blame Kevin Love for taking $30 million a year. And then everyone's in back, wow, he deserves to bring this money back. Really? It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed money. Okay, you can be mad that he's not living up to his contract. You think Kevin Love is happy that he's missed almost a year and a half of the last 2 years? No, he's not too happy about that. I've known Kevin Love for about 5 years. He's pretty competitive. No athlete, when you get that high up on the stage, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, no athlete is sitting back here and sitting back and saying, boy, did I screw this organization. Their egos are too big. They want to have that opportunity to compete. You think Kevin Love is happy with sitting down in a suit and tie for most of the last 2 years? Hell no, he's not been happy. He's been disappointing. He's been disappointed. It's been disappointing to see it, but he's been extremely disappointed. Of course Kevin Love wants to play. Of course he wants to be the vocal point and the leader of this team and to help the rebuild process. And that's just another story. The rebuild process is another story. Look, everyone that's going to sit back and throw arrows at this team and say, oh my God, this team is terrible. Look at all the injuries that this team has occurred this year. I can't even count on one hand the amount of games that this team has played with everybody healthy. I don't think I can count on one hand. And truth be told, and I know the NBA for some people is garbage now, especially with what LeBron did last week, which we won't get into. But, you know, I think a lot of people are turned off by the NBA, and that's another subject that, you know, I mean, I've never understood the whole idea of protesting a product based on what one person says. I've never understood that, or the belief of someone. I mean, you know, Chick-fil-A has great chicken. Whether I agree with what they say socially or not, Chick-fil-A has damn good chicken. And if you've noticed, I don't miss very many meals. We'll just put that kindly. If I don't agree with something that Chick-fil-A says, which I won't say whether I do or I don't. I mean, it's, you know, they have their standings. I'm sure as hell not going to say, oh, you know what? I'm not going to eat at your place because you say some things that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't give a crap what they say. They got damn good chicken. I'm going to eat their chicken. I'm gonna have their chicken all day long because Chick-fil-A chicken's damn good. Well, it's the same thing with the NBA. I don't care what LeBron says or any of this other stuff. I mean, look, is your product good? Well, it's not necessarily great, but it's a pretty good product. I mean, I like my basketball where traveling is called and a foul is a foul from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. And, you know, I mean, other than that, it's a pretty good game. I'm not gonna say anything because you have a problem with it. And I'll turn it into the sport that I'm really in love with, and it's been a constant in my life since I was 5, and that's baseball. So I've been a baseball guy for over a half a century. There isn't much that baseball can do where I can sit back and honestly say, even though I've said on a couple of occasions, I'm not too happy with that. At the end of the day, look, I mean, it's baseball, and I'm not happy with some of the rule changes, but I'm not going to sit back and say, well, I'm abandoning you based on what someone says, or based on the fact that the All-Star game is not in Atlanta. Oh, my goodness, I'm abandoning this sport. Hell no, I'm not going to abandon the sport based on that. It's baseball. It's baseball. I have a better chance of abandoning the sport by, I don't know, the absurd rules that they're starting to throw out. We have to put a runner at second base in extra innings because we're hell-bent on making the game fast instead of having a good quality. That's a rule that we can do without. Hell-bent on, we have to turn our doubleheaders now into 7 innings because, God forbid, we would have back-to-back 9-inning games. To which now Major League Baseball has painted themselves into a corner because Madison Bumgarner pitched a no-hitter in a 7-inning game that was scheduled to be a 7-inning game. So now does this no-hitter count? Apparently it doesn't, even though this game was scheduled to be a 7-inning game. It's not like Madison Bumgarner said, hey, I'm only going to pitch 7 innings. The game was scheduled for 7 innings, and he didn't allow a hit over 7 innings In my mind, it's a no-hitter, based on the fact it was a 7-inning game. Again, another rule we can do without. And, of course, we've all talked about how everyone's swinging out of their shoes, looking to go home run, looking to do this, looking to do that. The shift, and then okay, all this stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a crappy version of baseball, but it's baseball. I'm not going to turn my back on the game based on what someone says. I probably have a better chance of turning my back based on the crappy rules that they've been throwing out in the last 4 or 5 years. But getting back to Kevin Love, obviously, what he did last night was foolish. But like I said, and I posted this on social media, and I'll read what I said. Kevin Love shouldn't have done what he did last night, but he's human, and was pissed off that he was fouled twice with no call. And I'm not going to hold this against him, but he does owe his teammates and the organization an apology. He apologized to his teammates right after the end of the third quarter. He apologized to his teammates in the huddle, according to J.B. Bickerstaff. He apologized to the organization this morning. From what I understand, from what I have been told, there isn't going to be anything regarding a penalty or anything like that. I mean, it was just a situation where he was mad and he let the anger boil over and it got the best of him. And it happens. It happens. I mean, it's happened to everyone. It's, unfortunately, in today's world, for some strange reason, everyone now equates, well, you make a ridiculous amount of money, so now you have to walk on water. Doesn't happen that way. Guys are still going to be making mistakes, and guys are still going to be doing some things that you would not want to see when their anger gets the best of them, whether they're making the league minimum or they're making $30 million a year in the case of Kevin Love. It is what it is. He apologized. You move forward. And like I said this at the beginning of the year. Now, obviously, it's not going to come to pass. I said this team was talented enough to be a playoff team. And I truly believe that had this team been healthy all year, they would have been a playoff team. They absolutely would have been a playoff team had they been healthy all year. Now, they wouldn't have been a top 4 seed, but they would have probably been a 7 or an 8, maybe a 6, but we'll never know because this team was not healthy all year long. Now, this might be the best thing that happened to the organization. I know some people like to say, well, you got to win now. You got to win now. Okay, I get that. But think about this for a second. You have a team that is banged up. You have a team that I can count on one hand, maybe barely use the second hand on the amount of games that have been played when the Cavaliers are completely healthy all year long. They're going to go into the lottery. They're not a playoff team this year. I mean, it's pretty obvious they're not going to be a playoff team this year. So they're going to go in the lottery. What happens if the Cavaliers get a top 3 pick? Wow. Well, depending on who they get, this might have been the best thing that could have happened to the organization. Because if you can get a top 3 pick and you can get a guy that is going to help this team immediately and be part of yet another piece that's going to improve this team, and with a little bit of luck, maybe a whole lot of holy water and a couple of priests to exorcise some demons, the demons of injuries, maybe, just maybe, this team could be a pretty damn good team in 2021, 2022. I'm just saying. Now, with the Cavaliers' luck, the way that it's been, they'll wind up picking dead last in the lottery, and they'll wind up getting a decent player, but not a great player, because that's the way the Cavaliers' luck has been this year. I mean, it is what it is. All right, speaking of basketball, we were told late yesterday afternoon, very unfortunate for Youngstown State, the YSU basketball team will not have their go-to guy. Naz Bohannon has announced that he will go into the transfer portal. That was a decision that was made, according to 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. That was a decision that was made yesterday, that he being Naz Bohannon, he has entered the transfer portal. So Naz Bohannon will not be back for the 2021-2022 season. He has 1 year of eligibility left. 25 games played this past season. He started 23 of those games, 16 points, 8 rebounds. He is in the transfer portal. He's the 5th player to enter the transfer portal, and we certainly wish Naz Bohannon all the best. I wish that he would be back. I wish that Naz Bohannon would have stayed home and stayed at Youngstown State. Unfortunately, it is a decision that he made. When you look at the transfer portal and you look at everything that the portal has done and what the players can take advantage of, I got to be honest, as much as I love Youngstown State and the basketball program and Coach Calhoun and what he has done in a lot of ways to turn this program around, I can't blame Naz Bohannon for wanting to play one last year in a better scenario. Can't blame him. Now if he makes a lateral movement where he goes from one mid-major to another equal mid-major, I'm gonna be pissed. That's not good. And the same thing with Quisenberry. Darius has 2 years of eligibility left, and he wanted to go to another place and perhaps go to another place where the program is a little better and a little more challenging, and that's fine. I mean, that's what the transfer portal is there for. And I don't necessarily agree with the transfer portal, but it is what it is, and that's what the NCAA has done. And I think long-term you're doing some serious damage to college sports by doing this, but that's a completely different subject. But I'll say the same thing that I just said with Bohannon. If DQ goes to an equal mid-major program, I'm going to be pissed. That's bullcrap. Now, if you go, and I'll use this college because he's a Dayton kid. If he goes and stays home and plays for the Dayton Flyers, well, I got no problems with that. Dayton's an A-10 team in the Atlantic 10. All right, that's a step up from the Horizon League. And it's a mid-major, but it's a step up. It's an upper-tier mid-major. I got no problems with that. But if he were to go to another school in Dayton who happens to be in the Horizon League named Wright State, I'm going to be pissed. Because you just went into the same conference and played for the enemy. Yeah, I'll be a little upset at that. And the same thing with Bohannon. If Naz goes back home and, he's a Lorraine kid, if he goes back home and plays at Cleveland State, he's public enemy number 1 around here as far as I'm concerned. That's terrible. You're not going from a mid-major to a mid-major that's a little bit higher. You made a lateral move, and you've made a lateral move in the same damn conference. That would be a slap in the face. Again, my opinion. My show, my opinion. All right, 330-886-0813. Derek Culver announcing this morning that he has signed with an agent. He is turning pro, and he will be going to the NBA draft. Derek Culver, Warren Harding graduate. Kid played well the last couple of years at West Virginia. He was a handful in high school. He was a handful to deal with, and truth be told, I don't think that Derek played to his potential in high school. I really don't. I think that Derek Culver could have been a whole lot better in high school, but to his credit, Derek Culver became a really, really good basketball player the last couple of years at West Virginia, which is a tip of the cap to Bobby Huggins. And Huggy Bear did an amazing job with Derek Culver. And I think Culver is now good enough where he can be a pretty damn good player in the association. I think he could be a pretty damn good player in the NBA. We'll see what happens. Now, depending on where the Cavs select the lottery, I don't know if he's a lottery pick. If the Cavs need another big body, a 4 or a, I don't even think Culver can be a 3 in the NBA. I think he's going to be a 4. I think he's going to be a power forward in the NBA, and I don't even know if he's a stretch 4 because I don't think he has the range of a Kevin Love to be a stretch 4. But I do think he has the body to be a banger on the inside and have a pretty good career in the NBA. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So Derek Culver has foregone his remaining eligibility at West by God, Virginia, and he is going to go into the NBA draft, and we'll see where he is selected. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
By giving you confidence in your vehicle with a Greenwood Advantage warranty.
By guaranteeing you financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade, plus the best selection of new and used vehicles in the area.
Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and tell us how we can go the extra mile for you.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your wallet to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, Thursday night is the NFL draft, and man, I can't wait for this. It's so refreshing and so cool to not have a top 10 or a top 15 pick in the draft. You know, my team's going to be picking 30th in the first round, and I have a pretty good feeling unless one or two guys are off the board by the time they choose 30th, there's a pretty good chance they're going to be trading down and getting some extra picks. I think that the Bills are looking at two guys, Etienne from Clemson and the cornerback out of Northwestern. Obviously, they're not going to be able to get J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain the second. Although I would love to see them get the Samuels kid from Florida State. That would be cool if they were to get him. Browns are picking 26th, and there's talk they might move up depending upon who is available. The guy that I would love to see the Browns get is Kamara from Notre Dame, the outside linebacker who played an awful lot of rover type of position at Notre Dame. This kid can play. He really can, and I think that he would be a great piece for the Browns at the first round draft pick. I think he would be a solid selection. Because they're not going to get Micah Parsons, because Parsons is going to be long gone by the time the Browns pick at 26. But Karamoa is the guy that I'd love to see the Browns get a hold of. This kid, he can play. He can definitely play. Now, he's supposedly the weak outside linebacker. But like I said, this is a guy that is able to play like a hybrid between a linebacker and a safety, and he's fast enough where his 40 time is in the 4.5 range. He's fast enough where he could be a pretty decent safety, and he's 6'1.5", about 220. And it's a little light for linebacker. It certainly is a little light for linebacker. But the thing is, if you put 10 or 15 pounds on him, that 4.5 speed is now gone. You're not gonna remain 4.5. You'll probably lose a tick or two, and probably go closer to 4.6. If you go 235, 240, you'll probably be a 4.6, which isn't that's not a bad thing either. But again, I mean, this kid can play. He can play. And the one thing with Notre Dame, they play a strong schedule year in, year out. They play against the best, and and you get an opportunity to go up against the best. And he did really well in his Notre Dame career. He did quite well. He finished last year with 142 tackles. 24 and a half of those tackles happened to be for a loss. And he's not bad. He can definitely fit what the Browns are hoping to do. And let's be honest. I mean, the Browns, they're pretty much set offensively. Although, again, if I were Cleveland, Julio Jones is available. Apparently, the Falcons have said, "Hey, we're making Julio Jones available." I mean, if I were the Browns, Odell Beckham Jr. in a second for Julio Jones, and I would do that all day, every day, and not bat an eye. Because if Julio Jones is not a disruptor in the clubhouse, boy, you talk about strengthening your receiving core, which is already in pretty decent shape. But if you had a Julio Jones on one side and Jarvis Landry on the other side, and you got Hollywood, Higgins, and the rest of the gang, oh man, okay, you just got yourself a whole lot better in the receiving core. You just got a whole lot better. Now, the big question is, do you need to be even better than what the Browns are right now? And ultimately, the Browns really need some help in the back seven, because the back seven is atrocious. And they have taken care of the defensive backfield, or at least on paper, they've taken care of the defensive backfield. And I think a lot of folks in Cleveland are praying that Delpit is going to be able to come back from the Achilles tear to start his NFL career. And I don't want to be the guy that puts a wet blanket on anything, but there's a pretty good chance it's not going to happen. If history is any indication, historically, guys that suffer a ruptured Achilles, they don't come back the same. They come back having lost a step or two. Historically speaking, it just in the skill position or on defense, a position where you're high profile, and it doesn't get much more of a high profile on defense than the defensive backfield, given the fact that the National Football League now is a pass happy league, where the quarterback is going to throw the ball down the field and complete at a bare minimum 60% of his passes, and passing has become the norm in the National Football League. The defensive backs, they're in a pretty high profile position, and I don't think Delpit comes back the same. I don't think that he will, and it's a damn shame, because that kid had some promise, and I'm not giving up on him. I just don't think that he is going to be I don't think he's going to be the guy. I think you're going to see a significantly less version of him, and I don't think he's ever going to be the same, unfortunately. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't still have a decent career, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere close to what he did. The Browns did pick up some defensive backs in the free agency selections, and they're, at least on paper, they're a little bit better. They could use another corner opposite of Denzel Ward. I don't believe Greedy Williams is going to be the answer. Although, again, if you get him healthy, maybe, just maybe, we can get him to get on board and have a reasonably healthy season. Maybe, just maybe, Greedy Williams plays to his potential. I got to be honest, I'm not even a fan of Denzel Ward, because he gets hurt too often. When he's on the field, is he good? Yes, no question. It's just the matter of he had multiple concussions his rookie year. That's a red flag. Your corners are suspect at best. when Ward plays well. He's not elite, but he's good. He's good, but he's not elite. The other corner, average at best. The safeties have gotten better, at least on paper. They've gotten better. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But obviously, the linebacker situation is still not good. And for the Browns, Mack Wilson needs to be healthy, and he needs to live up to the billing. Unfortunately, he hasn't done it. His first 2 years in Alabama, from Alabama, have not been good. And we'll see if Mack Wilson is going to be good enough to be the guy that a lot of Browns fans and Browns management envisioned him at being. But the back seven, make no mistake about it, that's the one area that the Browns need to work on. They're close. They are close to being a team that could make some noise in the AFC. They're very close to being that team that a lot of folks believe they could be an upper echelon team. I'm a little concerned. If you're a Browns fan, I would be a little bit concerned about the fact that your schedule was not very good last year. The schedule was way too easy. You played a horrible NFC East and an AFC South that Houston and Jacksonville were struggling in a big way. Indianapolis and Tennessee, those are two good victories. But the Browns went 8-0, playing against the one AFC division and the one NFC division. When you consider this year, the Browns are playing the AFC West and the NFC North. So the Browns are going to be playing Kansas City, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Denver, and they'll be playing Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago. They're not going 8-0. They're not going to go 8-0 against those two divisions. That's not going to happen. They could very easily be 4-4 when they play those two divisions. They could very easily be 4-4. I mean, it just depends on where the schedule is, how it breaks down, injuries and whatnot. But looking at it, at least on paper, and the game's not won or lost on paper, but you get some kind of an idea of how this team matches up. They don't match up well against Green Bay. They don't match up well against Kansas City. They don't match up well against the Chargers. They don't match up well potentially against Minnesota and Detroit. Detroit could be a lot of fun, especially if they hit the first two rounds out of the park. Detroit could be a lot of fun to watch. And Chicago's another team that I would keep an eye on too. Now that they have gotten their new quarterback, it'll be interesting to see what happens there as well. But if Cleveland can answer some questions in their draft, they could make some noise this year. But again, the fact that their schedule is going to be a whole lot more difficult this year than last year, it might be a situation. And I know last year the Browns were 11-5, and I believe they finished in third place in their division because they had to go to Pittsburgh for the playoff game against the Steelers. So they finished in third place in their division, and I think they were the sixth seed. Were they the sixth seed? I want to say they were the sixth because Pittsburgh was the 5. They may not finish with 11 wins this year. They might actually take a step backward and go like 10-7 with the 17th game. And they might actually do, 10-7 or 11-6. But I think they're going to be a playoff team. I definitely think if they're healthy, they'll be a playoff team. But I could see them, because of the schedule being a little bit more difficult on paper. And again, we haven't even gone through the draft yet, but as of right now, I could certainly see the Browns being a team that takes a step back in terms of the amount of wins, but still be a playoff team. And likewise with my Bills, I don't see Buffalo being 13-3 like they were last year. Although last year's schedule compared to this year's This year's schedule is actually a little easier. Not much easier, but it'll be tolerable. This year, instead of the NFC West, the Bills will play the NFC South. So you'll see the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You'll also see New Orleans without Drew Brees. You'll see an Atlanta team that's in all likelihood going to be in rebuild mode, especially when they get rid of Julio Jones, which might happen on draft day. You never know. And a Carolina team that's still not anywhere close to competing for a divisional championship, let alone a playoff spot quite yet. So 3 winnable games in the NFC South, and then the tussle in Tampa against Tom Brady and the boys with the Buccaneers, and then the AFC last year. The AFC for the Bills last year, I believe it was the AFC West last year, and that was kind of tough. This year, it is going to be, I believe it's the AFC South this year, because I know it's not the North. I know it's not the North because the Bills are not playing the Browns this year, and I know it's not the West again. So I believe it is the AFC South that they're playing. So again, a little bit easier than the AFC West. Jacksonville's still going to be they'll be an improved team, but they're not going to be anything to write home about anytime soon. Texas is, or Houston is, and now that Deshaun Watson may never see the NFL as a player again, with all the problems that he's going through, he may not ever play the game again. Houston's a mess. In Indianapolis, which I consider to be a probably, other than Buffalo, the biggest threat to Kansas City in the AFC, and you got a pretty good Tennessee team, which the Bills have had a pretty good rivalry with this team, dating back to the Music City mugging that took place in 99? I think it was 99 or somewhere around there when that happened. So I'll be curious to see what happens. And then you get the Steelers, and we can't forget about them. I think a lot of people are putting some dirt on the Steelers, and you probably need to stop doing that, because I still have a very good feeling about this team. Now, they have some needs. They most definitely have some needs. And I'm going to be real curious to see what the Steelers do in this draft, because it's no secret their offensive line is not good. And now that Villanueva's gone, Pouncey is retired, their offensive line needs to be readjusted. They need some help along the offensive line, and I'll be real curious to see where the Steelers are when this team decides to get their pick, and I believe they are picking 27th? No, 24th, 25th. Somewhere in that vicinity. I'd have to look and see. I know that they're before the Browns because the Browns beat the Steelers in the postseason, and you don't go by records. You go by how the team worked, and and how the team was eliminated in the playoffs, and the whole 9 yards. The Steelers are picking 24th. Yeah, they're picking 24th. The Rams picked 25th. Well, the Rams were supposed to pick 25th. They traded that pick away. I want to say last year they traded that pick away to the Jacksonville Jags. So the Jags have the first pick, and they also have the 25th pick in the draft. So the Steelers are picking 24th, and I'll be real curious to see what they do. If I were the Steelers, and I'll tell you right now, the Steelers pick 24th, and in the second round, they are going to be picking with the 55th pick. So the Steelers go 24 and 55 with the first two picks. And if I were the Steelers, knowing that you can get a good running back in the middle portion of this draft, for me, if I were a Steeler fan, or if I were high up in the organization, I would sit back and go, listen, it's not sexy by any stretch of the imagination. It isn't. But if I were the Steelers, I'm going offensive line and offensive line with the first two-round selection. And I know a lot of people can sit back and go, well, if we get Etienne from Clemson, well, we got ourselves a good running back. Let's remember something that is just common sense. If you're a football fan, this is common sense. You can have $1 million quarterback, you can have $1 million running back, but if you have a 10-cent line, your $1 million quarterback and your $1 million running back aren't going to do diddly-poo when you have a 10-cent offensive line. So you can sit back and say, well, if I get Etienne, would I rather have a top-shelf running back but then have second-tier offensive linemen in the second and third round? Or do you get the best offensive lineman, top-tier offensive lineman, and then go get someone who might not be as good as Etienne, but isn't a bad selection and could be a diamond in the rough, which the Steelers are really good at, by the way, getting those diamonds in the rough in the third, fourth, fifth rounds. That's why they are where they are and have been for quite some time. They're pretty good when it comes to digging the diamonds in the rough in the championship portion of the draft, which is the third through the sixth round. Those are where the championships are made. You got to really be good from rounds 3 through 6 and really good at getting the gold mine portion of the draft. And the Steelers have been really good at it. You can get a running back this year, rounds 3 through 6. You can get a running back that could fit the bill as the potential gold mine pick. If I'm the Steelers, it ain't sexy. But with pick number 24 and pick number 55, I'm doubling up on the offensive line because that line is old and it's not good. And it needs some pieces parts. And I would do it right off the bat if I were the Steelers. Not to mention the fact you've got a decrepit quarterback who has taken way the hell too many hits throughout his career. You need to keep him upright. I would be doubling up the first two picks and getting two really good offensive linemen and go from there. But again, Steelers aren't as bad as what people think. I mean, I understand, and a lot of this nonsense has come from Cleveland. Well, look what we did in the postseason. Okay. Let me remind everyone of the first 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes of the game where anything that could have went wrong for the Steelers. That game was over 4 or 5 minutes into the game. They were toast. It was a comedy of errors, and it got out of hand. It went sideways pretty quickly, kind of which in a bigger scale, because this was not a playoff game, it was the Super Bowl. The first time the Bills played the Cowboys, the game was 7-3. The Bills actually had a lead after the first quarter, and things went sideways pretty quickly. The Bills started creating a comedy of turnovers, left, right, up, down, every which way. And that game got out of hand real quick. Didn't define the team. Hell, they went back to the Super Bowl the next year. Just because a team looks god-awful in a playoff game and has a comedy of errors and stuff goes sideways, that doesn't mean you're putting dirt on the grave of this team. This team's not nearly as bad as some folks, Ravens fans, Browns fans, and AFC fans. This team ain't nearly as bad as what you all think. This is actually not a bad Steelers team. This is actually a team that is going to, if they double up on the offensive line and get some quality offensive line in this draft, and this is a team that is going to be a pain in the ass to deal with in 2021. It's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. There's some talent on this team. And the Steelers they're not going away anytime soon. It's not like this team is going to be 7-10 or 8-9. God, I got to get used to the 17 game lingo here. Ugh, terrible. It's not like this team is going to be sub 500. They're not going to go 8-9 or 7-10 or 6-11 or 5-12. No. This team's not going to be as bad as you think. They just aren't. They're not going to be as bad as you think. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. We'll take a time out. On the other side, your phone calls, anything you want to talk about. We'll hopefully have a schedule for today's games on the network. And, boy, I'm looking forward to the back end of the home and home between Canfield and Boardman. Last night or yesterday afternoon into early yesterday evening, Canfield knocking off Boardman 5-3. These two teams will play in Canfield this afternoon beginning at 5 o'clock. That is going to be one hell of a good game. Look forward to seeing it because I have today off. I don't have to umpire today. Picked a great day to have a day off, let me tell you. All right, we'll take a timeout, be back with more. Stick around. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, games on the network. We got a handful. South Range will be playing Struthers. This one will be at Struthers. Yesterday, South Range took care of business at home, knocking off the Wildcats 6-0. The South Range now going to 11-5 on the campaign. A 2-hit shutout for Brandon Mikos. 17 punch-outs and 1 walk. Consider this, if you will. 7-inning game, 21 outs. All but 4 of the outs were punch-outs. So, in reality, only 4 balls were hit for the Wildcats. Only 4 balls were put into play in the entire game. Yikes. I could see why actually 6 balls were put into play. 2 were hits. Mikos gave up 2 hits. He walked 1, but he punched out 17 of the 21 outs. So all but 4 of the outs were baseballs that weren't even put into play. They were strikeouts. So Struthers looking to split the home and home as they'll take on South Range today from Struthers. That is a 4:45 start. It is softball and baseball, but we will have the softball game from Canfield between Boardman and Canfield, and that will be today at Canfield at 5 o'clock. That is the only softball game that we'll be playing. Boardman taking on Canfield in softball. That game will start at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock this afternoon at LeBray. Liberty will be playing the LeBray Vikings. That will be the back end of a home and home between Liberty and LeBray. Carrollton will be playing Salem. That game will be played at Salem starting at 5 o'clock. Canton South will be traveling to Beloit to take on West Branch. That game starts at 5 o'clock. And then the Holy War Baseball Edition, Cardinal Mooney will be playing Ursuline from Bob Scene Park, Field 1, if I'm not mistaken. So Red Baker, the touchdown maker and PA maker, will be the guy that's going to be, you're going to be hearing a lot of Red Baker because he's the public address announcer since the get-go at Scene Park. You'll hear an awful lot of Red Baker's public address announcing during the course of this evening's game from Bob Scene Park in Struthers. Cardinal Mooney taking on Ursuline. That game will be starting at 7 o'clock. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. We're with you till 3 o'clock. Coming up at the top of the hour, we will hear from the manager of the YSU Baseball Penguins, and that would be Dan Bertolini. And Dan Bertolini is boy, is he having some fun with this baseball team. This team has been nothing short of spectacular as the Penguins are on a 5-game winning streak, and they have won more conference games than at any point in time in the history of the Horizon League. They have also won as many games as of right now, in quite some time. So, this is definitely a big-time year for the Penguins. It has certainly been a big-time year for the Penguins. By the way, the Kentucky Derby, which we're going to be talking later in the week, my guy down in Tennessee, Seabass, who is all about the horses, we're certainly going to be talking Kentucky Derby. The Derby goes off on Saturday at Churchill Downs. The post positions were just announced today. The Derby field is 20 horses. The post positions have been drawn. Highly motivated, which I believe is one of the overwhelming, or one of the favorites in this particular Derby. They will be, or this horse, I should say, will be coming out of the 17 position. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the race in and of itself. And the morning line is available as well. We'll go through that as well. Let's get to the phone lines real quick. 330-886-0813. Good afternoon. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
Hi, this is Betty Berkey. I live here in Columbiana.
Hi, Betty. How are you?
Oh, okay, I guess. I seen your ad on TV, and I've got a problem with supplementary insurance.
Oh! Yo, you got the wrong company, hon. We're to have nothing to do with insurance.
Oh well.
Yeah, this is YSN that you just called.
Oh, for Pete's sake!
That's all right, dear.
Their numbers right.
Yeah.
Their numbers right below yours.
That's all right, dear.
I'm
all
sorry.
right, have a great day. All right, there you go. That's beautiful. I wonder if she realizes that she called in on a show, and anyone that listened to this is, oh yeah, all right, somebody called a wrong number. Beautiful. Let's run through the Kentucky Derby field, and then we'll take a time out. Oh God, I love live broadcasts. All right, known agenda. Irod Ortiz Jr. will be on this horse. It goes off as 6-1. Known agenda is going to be on the rail. They got the number 1 position. Like the King, is a long shot at 50-1, along with Brooklyn Strong. A couple of 50-1s, actually 4 consecutive long shots coming out of shoot 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like the King, Brooklyn Strong, Keep Me in Mind, and Sainthood are all 50-1, and they're going to be occupying shoots 2 through 5. Obesos is a 20-1 shot. That horse is going to be coming out of the 6th position. Mandaloun, the Giroux jockey-led horse at 15-1. Mandaloun is going to be at number 7. Medina Spirit, this is the only horse that Bob Baffert has. Medina Spirit, John Velasquez will be riding Medina Spirit at 15-1. Medina Spirit is going to be out of the 8th shoot. Hot Rod Charlie, who has gotten an awful lot of solid press in the last couple of weeks. Hot Rod Charlie is at the number 9 position. Flavian Prats is the jockey. Hot Rod Charlie is 8-1, coming out of the 9 position. Midnight Bourbon from Mike Smith. Mike Smith is the jockey. Midnight Bourbon is 20-1. That horse will be coming out of the 10 slot. Dynamic One from Jose Ortiz will be riding this horse at 20-1. Dynamic One comes out of the 11 position. Helium is a 50-1 shot at number 12. Hidden Stash is the 13 position, another long shot at 50-1. Essential Quality, this is the horse that is the overwhelming favorite. Essential Quality is 2-1. Essential Quality is going to be coming out of the 14 position. Rock Your World is the 15 horse at 5-1. King Fury, the horse ridden by Brian Hernandez, will be 20-1 at 16, coming out of chute number 16. Highly Motivated, Javier Castellano will be riding this horse. Highly Motivated is 10-1. It's coming out of chute 17. 18, 19, and 20 are all 30-1 shots. Superstock, Soup and Sandwich, and Bourbonic. All right, so there you go with the horses. A little breaking news: the Boardman Canfield game that was supposed to be played in Canfield, that game, the baseball game, has been canceled for this evening, or at least that is the message that we're getting. I believe Boardman Canfield canceled for this evening. That game was to be played at Canfield. So there you go. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Tony, it's been a while. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Ron?
I'm
Hey,
good.
that would have been a great game tonight, too. Those are both really good teams, right?
What's that?
Those are both really good teams, correct?
Yeah, and Canfield won yesterday 5-3, but apparently they're not going to be playing ball tonight, unfortunately. So there you go.
Oh, they played yesterday? Played yesterday?
Yeah, they normally do home and home, and they played in Boardman yesterday. Canfield was able to beat the Spartans 5-3, but apparently, and I might, it's all I am receiving is Boardman Canfield is canceled tonight. I don't know if that's softball or baseball, because both teams were to have played. So I'm assuming it's baseball. Could be softball. I'm not 100% sure. It is baseball,
Yeah.
and I was just told it was baseball. So the return matchup canceled for this evening.
So is Anthony there or not?
No, he's here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Oh, okay. Because I was kind of nervous about calling because I assume that the Kansas City Royals are going to win about 108 games this year.
Yeah, they're
that's the pace they're on, right?
Yeah, they're playing some good ball. Listen, they're playing some really good ball right now. I think the rug will get pulled out from under them sooner or later, but they are playing some good ball right now.
Yeah. Well. Just don't say they're swinging for the fences. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Well, yeah. All right, what's on your mind? What's on your mind, kid?
Hey, draft, NFL draft. You've been talking NFL draft?
Yes, yeah. And isn't it cool that we're picking late in the first round, and I keep hearing that there's a pretty good chance that if the Bills player doesn't fall to them, then they're just going to trade down, get extra picks, and go from there.
That's a pretty comfortable place to be if you're. I mean, if you go into the season with what you've got, you're pretty well situated. If they can grab a guy, maybe move up, or have a guy fall to them late in the first round. Remember, DJ Metcalf went the end of the second round?
I believe he was in late second round, if I'm not mistaken. He was.
Remember where the Cleveland Browns running back went? The fifth pick in the second round?
Yeah, Nick Chubb was a second-round draft pick, and he's a free agent at the end of this year, by the way, because only first-rounders get that fifth-year option. So Chubb is a free agent at the end of this year, and I'm going to be really, really curious as to what the Browns are going to do with Nick Chubb. And I made mention of this, and I'll say it again. Baker Mayfield needs a running attack. He is 2-8 in his NFL career as a quarterback when the Cleveland Browns rush for under 100 yards. He is not a guy that has won a lot of games, and the two victories have come against arguably the two worst teams in the AFC, in the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets. So it's not a good formula for the Browns. They need to have a solid running back for this team to have that solid chance to be an elite program.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about, and I love Josh Allen, but I was talking to somebody about Josh Allen, who was a Browns fan, and he said, Josh Allen wins on the Browns. Baker Mayfield does not win on the Bills.
Agreed.
So it's a good point. I mean, they had virtually no running attack with the Bills last year, and they went 13-3.
Yeah, well,
and,
I would also say, had the Cleveland Browns drafted Josh Allen, he would be a bust already in the NFL.
I will absolutely agree with you on that.
Because
that was, and so many quarterbacks get in horrible situations, Hugh Jackson kind of situation, and get ruined, just get destroyed. I hope nothing happens to Josh Allen this year, but this is a great opportunity if something does in a show me type year for the kid out of Mentor.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. Now, God forbid we see him this year, because I don't want to see him this year, because that would mean that Allen is completely healthy and we don't have any problems. But, if Allen does go down with an injury, it's very comforting to know that you have a playoff caliber quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky to be his backup. Speaking of
a kid who could not have underachieved more at this point in his career. So it's all upside for him at this point.
Well, that and the fact, you talk about guys that were ruined in the National Football League. One can argue that Mitchell Trubisky and Sam Darnold were ruined, at least for the time being, by going to some pretty crappy teams. Now Darnold and Trubisky are now out of their crappy teams, and
I don't like Darnold's situation. I like Trubisky's situation for 1 year to just get a footing under him and go somewhere else. I don't like Darnold's situation.
Well, it depends on what they do. If Carolina is going to be hell-bent on taking a quarterback in the first round, then all you're doing is stunning the growth of Darnold, and you're not building pieces around him. If I was Carolina, I wouldn't be concerned with Justin Fields or Trey Lance or any of the quarterbacks that are left. I would be more concerned about getting this guy some talent around him, and let's see what you have once and for all with Sam Darnold.
Going back to that draft, and let me finish the statement before you think I'm bashing you. Darnold was your guy.
And
Josh
he was.
Allen was my guy.
And Sam Darnold is still my guy.
You know what? There's not a coach that I've seen or heard discuss Darnold who says this kid isn't gifted and has a just crazy amount of upside potential.
And Sam Darnold, Tony, Sam Darnold is still my guy. I am convinced that if Sam Darnold goes to a situation where they have talent around him, he is going to be a elite top shelf elite quarterback in the
Yeah, I
National
wanted
Football
him.
League.
There was one place I wanted him for his sake, Indianapolis.
Actually, I'm going to do you one better. I wish the Steelers would have gotten him.
I have to think about that. I just love the coach in Indy for developing young quarterbacks and being the quarterback that he was. And, adversity was his game. I mean, he's the one who came in and dealt with so much adversity throughout his career.
Yeah. Well, it just
And
it
he's
sucks.
he's the one that, Nick Foles, another guy I loved. I mean, he was a guy that Nick Foles achieved because he was with Wright.
No, I agree. I agree with that, and I'll be real curious now that Carson Wentz is in Indianapolis, how he's going to work with Frank Reich, and I have a feeling that Carson Wentz is going to be quite a solid quarterback in Indianapolis.
Well, outside of Frank Reich, let's give him the. He's got the best offensive line potentially in the NFL right
Well, and given the fact that he's a China doll in comparison to what the kind of injuries that he has suffered, he's going to need that very, very good offensive line. And I think that,
and the running. Speaking of running games, there's a running game that's really coming on.
Well, yeah, and mainly because they've got an unbelievable offensive line. I mean, it's and that's why I think if you're a Steeler fan,
I agree with that. I agree with that. But that running back of theirs they got out of Wisconsin is special.
Oh, he is, but he's more special now that he has a top shelf offensive line in front of him. It's that's why I think if you're a Steeler fans shouldn't be boo-hooing if the Steelers double up and take their first two picks and spend them on offensive linemen. I think that would be the prudent thing to do for the Steelers.
Yeah. What did Kansas? Speaking of Kansas City, it'd be better if Anthony were here. Now there was a chance they were going to lose 60% of their offensive line from last year. What's up?
Well, they let go of their right tackle and their left tackle. Then they made the deal with the Ravens, and picked up Orlando Brown. And good Lord, I mean, I can't wrap my head around why Baltimore did this, because you've just helped out the team that you're trying to chase down. I don't understand why they did this. It's not like they got a lot in return.
What did they get out of it?
I mean, they got a decent package, but they gave up some stuff too. So it doesn't make any sense from my perspective, because again, you're trying to chase down Kansas City, and Kansas City winds up getting a pretty decent offensive lineman that they can plug in at left tackle, and now Mahomes' blind side is taken care of.
Back to the Browns real quick, and I don't know specifically their money situation. Are they in a bad situation after this year, having to do something with Mayfield, and then Chubb coming up as a free agent, and how many other people, Clowney on a one-year deal, and big money spent on Myles Garrett?
Well, I think they still had $15 or $20 million left over when they released Sheldon Richardson. So
That's gone. That's gone when they give $40 million to Mayfield.
Well, the last year they exercised it, and the last year is $29 million, I think. They'll probably have to do a couple of things, but I would assume that they'll be in pretty decent shape cap wise for next year. They're just going to have to maneuver some parts in order to sign Nick Chubb. And like I said, for all we know, the analytics guys could sit back and say, well, the book says not to sign this guy, so maybe they let Nick Chubb go. And if they do, and hopefully if they do, and Buffalo doesn't have their running back situation set well, then let's go get Nick Chubb because he's an elite running back.
You brought up analytics, and I can go back 5 years in our arguments. DePodesta's still there.
Yep.
Barry's still there.
Yep.
The thing that's really not there is Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the general manager at the time either.
No, John Dorsey. John Dorsey was good. I mean, it's just
No, before Dorsey.
Oh, Sashi, man, he was an idiot.
Sashi's the one that gave.
He got all the picks. I get that, and
he got all the picks and all the money.
He got all the picks, but thankfully they got him out of Dodge before he actually made the picks because he wasn't smart enough to do that. He's smart enough to make the trades, but he wasn't smart enough to make sure that you got all the pieces in place. That was Dorsey's job.
He put them in a great situation money wise. And a great situation pick-wise.
Well, I think that...
let's go to the Bills, my friend. What edge rusher, cornerback, or tight end?
Look, if it were me, I would roll the dice right now and say the hell with all of this stuff. I'm making a call to the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm saying we will give you our first-round draft pick this year, next year, and a second and a third this year, and maybe a second this year, maybe a third the following year, and you give us the fourth pick overall, and we're going to take Kyle Pitts. They say he's a general. They say, and the way contracts work, that's fantastic because you got the guy for 5 years. Exactly, and I would celebrate multiple Super Bowls when you make this trade. That's what I would do. If Buffalo and I would love if Bean did this because you'd be rolling the dice in a big way and saying, okay, now we're going to do this.
It's a nice place to be that you feel comfortable with your current situation that you can take a big gamble like that.
You're preaching to the choir. I would do that in a heartbeat if I were Buffalo. I'd trade up my first round pick this year and next year. I'd give a second this year. Maybe a second or a third next year. And if they want more, maybe throw in another mid-round draft pick. Or if they say 3 number ones and a high pick the next year, done. I would love to have Kyle Pitts in a Bills uniform because that guy is hands down, send home the jury, the best tight end to come out of college in a long time.
Well, you know what? We say stuff like that, but you know what? You know who I loved? I loved that guy in Las Vegas, and people threw him away.
Who was that?
The tight end at Las Vegas. He's slipping my mind.
I'd have to look him up, but this guy.
Champ could tell us in about 2 seconds. That guy is That guy's a special athlete.
Yeah, well, Kyle Pitts is, there's special and then there's generational special, and Kyle Pitts is generational special, and
well,
I would love the Bills to cash in and just say, look, we're a tight end and we can get a pass rusher in the second or third round. I would love for them to cash their chips and say we're all in on Kyle Pitts. Tony, I got to get going, brother.
Have a great day, my friend.
Appreciate it. 330-886-0813. Dan Bertolini coming up next. Stick around. More to come.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
If you're looking for a new Ford vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of new Ford models. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your new Ford. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their new Ford at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. It's Tuesday. It's a little after 2 o'clock. It is time to bring in a very happy manager and skipper of the YSU baseball program, the one and only Dan Bertolini, appearing on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Skip, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, Ron. It's beautiful out here.
It's not only a beautiful day, it's a great day to be a Penguin. Over the weekend, the Penguins setting a program record for most wins in a Horizon League season, a season in which you still have 12 league games left, and we've already set a program record for Horizon League victories. Congratulations. What an amazing accomplishment this year, Coach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's it's a lot of work still out there, a lot of games left to be done, but it says a lot about our guys and the way that they've handled things even through the pandemic to now, and the way that they've played so far this season. It's been really fun to be a part of this group.
Boy, no kidding, and the fact that this is a baseball team that is also won a lot of games for the season. It's been a while since this team has won the amount of games in a regular season, let alone conference play. It's been a while since the Penguins have been able to do this as well.
Yeah, I think we have 22 wins currently. It's the first time since 2010 that the program's had 20 wins or more. And when we recruit, there's been a lot of players here on our roster, especially Colin Floyd and Joel Hake are guys that have been here since really before me. And, the guys that we brought in here, we told them that, that this is going to be a program that's going to sustain success. We're going to have, opportunities to win Horizon League championships. And, these guys have bought in, full go. And, they put the work and the time in. And we felt like, we've talked before, we felt like last year would have been, the year that things would have started to change, but the season got canceled, and it only made us stronger in the long run. We've been off to a great start, but there's still, still a lot of games out there, and our ultimate goal of, winning a Horizon League championship.
Dan, and I'm glad you brought this up with last year, and obviously it was disappointing that COVID and the ultimate tragedy involving COVID with all the deaths that we've had in this country, and it shut down spring sports in the NCAA. But I got to be honest with you, if there is a shred of positive to come out of this god-awful virus that we've had for the last year, it's the fact that everyone came back. And we're seeing a much better brand of baseball. It's almost as if that loss last year in which everyone wasn't able to play baseball might have been the biggest blessing in disguise for this baseball program.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get players to stay around for 6 years, and we've been fairly young over the last couple of years. I thought even, we felt really good about the 2019 season before the year started, and then you lose Nick Caruso for a season-ending injury. You lose Joel Hake for the season. You lose Colin Floyd for the season. Your closer, Gary Clift, he can only throw part-time as he's coming back from injury. So we had a lot of key injuries to key spots, and, that hurt us in the short term. But in the long term, a lot of our younger guys, our younger pitchers, Colin Clark and Chad Coles and Dalton and those guys all got more opportunities to pitch. Phil Glasser and some of our guys that are now, Steve Desani, those guys got opportunities to play in 19, where they wouldn't have had those opportunities probably if we didn't have some injuries. So it hurt us then, and then that made us better for last year. And now you're seeing, these guys have been playing now for 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5 and 6 years on this team. And anytime you have that kind of experience, there's just no situation that's too big There's nothing that they haven't already gone through. They lean on that experience, and you're just able to capitalize on some of those situations that in years past we probably wouldn't have been able to do it. Even in 2019, we had a terrible record. I think we had 13 wins, but we lost 15 games that year in games that were 3 runs or less. And when you're experienced and you have depth and you have guys that have been here for a while, you don't lose those games. You win, you find ways to win those games instead of find ways to lose them.
That was one of the things that I was looking forward to in 2020, because I made I made that investment in terms of looking up the record in 2019, and that was one of the themes that we had going into 2020, and how excited I was going into 2020, knowing that in 2019 you lost X amount of 1-run, 2-run games. There were a lot of games that were decided by 3 runs or less, and a sub 500 record in that. And you knew the more experience you had, the better the results were going to be. And what better way to look at it than this week? I will say this without any hesitation. Colin Floyd gives up 3 runs in the top of the first inning when you played Oakland in Game 1 of the doubleheader. 2 years ago, Coach, you guys don't win that game. 2 years ago, I don't think you guys come back from a 3-0 deficit in the first inning to come back and win this game. You did on Thursday, and Colin Floyd said, okay, you got me for 3 runs in the top of the first. You ain't getting squat the rest of the day. He pitches his ass off the final 7 innings, and the Penguins are able to get 3 runs across, send it to extra innings, walk it off in the 8th inning, and then get the sweep of the doubleheader in the nightcap, doubling up Oakland 12-6.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, I think he'd only given up. I don't think he'd given up 3 runs in his last 5 starts. And they came out ready to hit. They hit some ground balls through the hole. They hit maybe 1 ball hard, but they hit a couple balls. But he's able to pitch out of it, gives up 2 hits the rest of the way, and kept their offense in the game. And in that situation, anytime we're within 2 or 3 runs, we're a single and a swing of the bat away from being right back in it. And that's what happened. We get a hit and then hit a 3-run homer. Or a 2-run homer. I thought their guy did a really good job of making some pitches. Their starter threw the ball well, and then we get into extra innings and we give up a run in the 8th on an error, on a tough play. We make an error, and in 2 seconds the game is pretty much over. We get a leadoff walk, a triple, and a single, and that's all she wrote. Our guys do a good job. They're never out of the game. We pretty much stay. We know we have opportunities to win. We just got to stay with it. And they did a good job this weekend.
Dan, I just while you were answering the question, I'm running through your guys' schedule. Do you happen to know offhand your record when the Penguins win or lose by 3 runs or less?
I do not.
13-6.
Yeah. That's definitely a telltale sign of a good team.
Yeah, no question. And you had 2 of those victories over the weekend when you played Oakland. And Oakland, I'll tell you what, give these guys some credit. They came to play in this weekend, but the Penguins, especially the Sunday game, my goodness. You guys stole their lunch money, kicked them out of the bus, and told them to have a good day, and got them out of town with an 18-6 blowout loss. You put the hammer down on this team, but the first 3 games of that series, Oakland comes into town, loses by a run in 2 of the 3 games, and it got out of hand. The nightcap got out of hand early. And you guys were able to get a 12-6 victory, but Oakland didn't exactly lay down for you guys.
Oh, yeah, they played really well. They hadn't fielded the ball really well all year going into that series, but they made some big plays. I thought they were really well-played games. They limited their walks sort of in the 2 close games. They didn't walk a whole lot of guys. Their starters threw the ball well, but it kind of caught up to them on Sunday. I think they made 7 errors and 6 or 7 errors and walked, 8 or 9. That's a recipe for disaster, and we were able to take advantage of that. But they played, they played us really tight. They did a really nice job. They're 2 of their starters. I mean, the guy that threw the 3rd game of the series was 91, 94 with a good breaking ball, and he was in control of it early, kind of lost it a little bit. We made him throw some pitches, and he kind of lost command a little toward the end of that start. And once we were able to get kind of into their bullpen, we could do some things. But yeah, I mean, they played really well for 3 of the 4 games.
All right, so Youngstown State is on a 5-game winning streak, 17-11 in conference play, 22-17 overall, and you would think 5-game winning streak, you're the hottest team in the conference. No. The team that you're playing this weekend is on an 8-game winning streak, having swept Milwaukee. UIC 16-10 in the league, percentage points better than the Penguins, 17-15 overall. UIC playing some really, really good baseball in the last 8 games. Penguins going to Chicago. This is going to be a hell of a good series, Skip.
Yeah, we played some good games against them here at home, and we found a way to win a tight game against their number 1 starter, Jacob Key, who's been, I don't know, I didn't see it, but I'm sure he's going to be back-to-back Horizon League Pitcher of the Week. He's a really tough starter. I think we beat him 2-1 in extra innings, and their number 2 guy gave us some trouble. So it's going to be a great series. They play good defense. It looks like they're starting to swing the bats a little bit better than they did the last time we played, and we expect. It's always been tough for us in Chicago. We haven't had a whole lot of success there, so it's going to be really important that we're super focused going into this weekend. Every weekend means a lot in the league, and this one is no different. This is the biggest series of the season to this point, and we got to find a way to play good baseball and win some games in Chicago.
I'm looking at this 8-game winning streak. They swept a 4-gamer from the Mastodons of Purdue Fort Wayne, yielding 6 runs in the 4 games. 4 of those runs the last game of the series, and then they just got done dismantling Milwaukee. They only gave up 5 runs in those 4 games. 3 of them in Game 3 of the series. They shut out Milwaukee in the final game of the series, 7-0. So I'm looking at this. Skip, they only gave up 11 runs in the 8 games that they have played in their 8-game winning streak. That is some damn good pitching by UIC.
Yeah, they have 4 really capable starters, that can pitch. And in this league, it's tough. When you got to play 4 games in a series, it really comes down a lot of times to that Sunday starter, be able to do it. And they have 4 guys that have pitched, pretty well, especially lately. I think in our game, the scores are pretty high. So we'll have to see. It'll be a good pitching matchup, and also, our offense versus, their staff.
Yeah, you're in Chicago on Friday, doubleheader on Saturday, single game on Sunday. If the weather cooperates, I don't even know what the weather forecast is supposed to be like.
It's going to be beautiful.
Okay, there you go. So these 2 teams will be locking horns, and again, you come out of there winning 3 out of 4. You're in second place, and that's important because Wright State is probably going to wind up winning this division, and you certainly don't want to talk about the tournaments right now, but if you can be in second or third, realistically, then you don't see Wright State in the conference tournament until the second round. And if I'm correct in this, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Skip. Once you get to the tournament, 3 consecutive wins, and you're on your way to the 2021 NCAA tournament.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, every game is going to be important the rest of the way. Whether you're in second, third, fourth, it doesn't really matter. You just have to have an opportunity. We feel like, we've beaten every team in the Horizon League this year, so it's not, it's not something that we're not capable of. So the real goal is to make sure you get there. Coming in second would be great. I don't think it's going to be all near impossible to catch Wright State at this point. So, we're just playing to play great baseball and just really be playing, really strong going into the Horizon League tournament. This weekend will be a big weekend to kind of set that tone. But at the end of the day, we still have 8 more games in the Horizon League after this, and all of those are going to be important.
How great is it, though, that you get the final 8 games of the Horizon League schedule in the friendly confines of Eastwood Field, where you guys have been nothing short of spectacular record-wise at Eastwood Field this year?
Yeah, I think we're 13-2 at home, and that there's nothing better than knowing that we have the last 8 games in the Horizon League at home. And it's been quite some time since we've played meaningful baseball in May, and it's just great to have games that count, that mean something, that our guys are playing in games that are like every game in this Horizon League has been like the World Series Game 7. Every game's been played like that. So, we'll be prepared for the tournament for sure because of that.
10-2 record in the Horizon League, 13-2 overall this year at Eastwood Field. And I got to throw this number out as well. It's really cool when you can sit back and go magic number to get into the Horizon League tournament. And for the record, the magic number, Skip, is 9, and that's a combination of Youngstown State victories and Northern Kentucky losses equaling 9, and you guys get into the Horizon League tournament.
Yeah. I mean, that hopefully we can control. We can control, and that's winning. And we'd like to do that this weekend against a tough UIC team.
All right, let's talk about if everything is perfect, and you've made mention weather-wise, it's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous in the Windy City. By the way, which part of Chicago is UIC located in?
It's right downtown.
All right, so
pretty
that's
much right in the downtown.
All right, so the baseball field is in downtown Chicago?
Yeah, right on the campus, right on UIC's campus. You can actually see like the Sears Tower, whatever it's called now, in the background of the stadium.
Oh, there you go. That's absolutely gorgeous. And oh, by the way, I mean, it's not as good as Youngstown pizza, but you can get some pretty good pizza in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you can tell you're the clown who thought our pizza wasn't any good that I just said that. Listen, I mean, obviously, beautiful weekend in store. A great opportunity for the Penguins to get into second place. And if the weather holds up, which it's supposed to, what's the pitching matchup going to be like for you guys? Who are you going to be throwing out in this series, Skip?
We're going to stay the same. It'll be Colin Clark on Friday, Colin Floyd on Saturday, John Snyder on the second game Saturday, and then Nick Perez on Sunday. And we're going to go out there, and I don't know what their matchup is. They haven't given me their rotation yet, but I would assume it's going to be similar to what they did last week. I'm sure we'll face Key on Friday, O'Reilly and Lopez on Saturday, and then probably Tanner Shears on Sunday.
When a team is that locked in, where they've given up just 11 runs in the 8-game winning streak, what do you send as a message to your kids on offense and the everyday players, the lineup that will face this now suddenly hot starting rotation? What do you do in terms of a plan of attack when a team is pitching as well as UIC?
Well, we gotta stick to what makes us go. We have to be committed to hitting the ball to the right side of second base for our right-handers. They're going to really pitch down and away. They're going to throw any pitch in any count. So we got to be, kind of ready to hit. If you get a first pitch breaking ball, that's a hittable pitch in the middle of the zone. You got to be able to, be on time for that. So, I think by kind of sitting that middle backside, and that's what we've done a good job with. You have to really compete with 2 strikes and force them to make pitches. And we don't chase balls out of the zone and make them make pitches in the strike zone. We're really good on balls that you put in the strike zone. Our guys hit those balls really hard. So we have to just find ways not to chase, and they do a good job. They pitch down the zone. They all got some sink to it. Jacob Key is, probably 85, 87, but he can really sink it. He'll throw that sinker slider mix. Throws, 4 different pitches. Can throw right-handed on right-handed changeups. So you got to make him bring the ball up, and you have to be able to, get balls that you can drive to the outfield, because he'll get some early swings and some rollovers on guys trying to pull outside fastballs. So you got to be committed to going that way.
And I've been saying this for years, and people that are either relatively new to the game of baseball or basically analytics idiots, and I say that in a very nice way, that'll sit back and go, no, you got to throw the ball in the mid upper 90s. You got to do that. No, you don't. you don't have to throw mid-upper 90s. Now, it helps if you do, but if you're a guy that throws upper 80s, low 90s, but can locate the ball on command and be right where you're supposed to be, that guy can be every bit as effective and, dare I say, even more effective than a guy that throws the ball insanely hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's got to be a combination. I mean, if you're in the big leagues and you're throwing, 88 to 90, like, your command has to be
impeccable.
Excellent.
Yeah, it has to be impeccable.
Because if you miss a spot and you're over the middle of the plate, you're going to get punished. Where you have a little bit more room for error if you're throwing 95 to 98 to 100, and you miss your spot by 8 inches, it's still 100 miles an hour. It makes it difficult to hit. But in college baseball, it's I really think anywhere. In the big leagues, if you're 92, 93, you can be just as effective as someone throwing 100. It doesn't really matter, and that's comparable to us, whether it's 87, 88, or a guy throwing 94, 95. You just gotta throw strikes. You gotta mix speeds. And, don't use the middle of the plate. And that's what he does. He does a really good job of not, I think him and Colin Floyd are very similar. Neither one of them are going to light the radar gun up. It's not going to be 95. They'll touch 90, but they can move it around. They throw everything out of the same arm slot. It moves different directions. Their fastball isn't straight. So you really got to be challenged. You really have to be disciplined and not chase anything out of the strike zone. And if you can do that, then you can find ways to do some damage, and if you can get some early runs on them and get into the bullpen, that's kind of the recipe for success.
I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately, I'll take a guy that throws low 90s and has impeccable location over a guy that throws mid-upper 90s but doesn't have but has average location. I will gladly take the guy that throws low 90s with impeccable location, because I think I have a better chance at getting a guy out. Now, I might have to pitch to contact, but I'm going to get this guy out.
Yeah. I mean, it's Shane Bieber doesn't throw 100 miles an hour, but he's got incredible command and moves them, and nothing he throws is straight. He can command his fastball to both sides of the plate. He can throw a breaking ball at any count. That's what makes you, and everything comes out of that. Everything's tunneled out of the same arm slot. So you see those guys on Twitter, Pitching Ninja or whatever. They show a guy throw a fastball, breaking ball, changeup, all out of the exact same arm slot. So now you got 3 pitches going 3 different directions out of the exact same arm slot, same arm speed. It's like it makes it really difficult to hit.
It's damn near impossible to hit when a guy's throwing the ball out of the same arm slot in the same motion. It just makes it that just more miserable to try to hit. On a related, not really a related note, but the success that the Penguins have had, 17-11 in the league, 22-17 overall. I wanted to talk a little bit about the recruiting, and I know we're in the middle of a season. But given the fact the Penguins are having a really, really good year, is this making things a little bit easier for you in terms of getting some interest from prospective junior college and high school kids in hopes of becoming a future Penguin?
Yeah, I mean, it's in recruiting right now is almost impossible just because you can't go out and see anyone play yet. So not until June 1st are we going to be able to go out and watch guys. But yeah, I mean, it's when you look down the line at potentially some transfers or some junior college players, there's definitely the more success we have, the more likely those guys are to want to come to our program and play in a winning culture and a winning environment. So I'm sure. As the season progresses and as we get close to that recruiting end of the dead period, we'll be out, kind of watching those guys. But, yeah, I mean, with the transfer portal opening up and now you get a one-year you get a one-time transfer exemption so you can transfer and not have to sit out, it can help us, especially with graduate transfers. There's a lot of those guys because of the pandemic. There's just there's a lot of kids in the portal in general, and you might be able to get a player that you really need in a spot that you need.
I wanted to get your opinion on this before we let you go, and we're speaking with the manager of the YSU baseball program, Dan Bertolini. The one-time transfer rule that the NCAA has just put forth, is this a good thing, or could this potentially be a disaster waiting to happen?
That's a great question. I wish I had the answer to that, but I see the benefits in the detractors in both, just because, one, like for anyone, even any part of our program, if you don't want to be part of this, then that's fine, and you don't want players that don't want to be part of this. But I think that the problem really comes down to a lot of the Power 5 schools. They recruit so many kids; they bring in 50 kids a year. And in the old days, before the pandemic, you could only have 35 on your roster. So they'd have 50 guys, and they'd be cutting guys in, February, and then those guys have to go, and then they have to sit here because they committed to go walk on at Ohio State, and now all of a sudden Ohio State, I'm just using them as an example, but, they have too many, they don't make their roster. Now they're punished because they have to sit another year. They can't play till the following year. So it's unfair for those players, but, you don't want teams to go out and start poaching players from different teams because they like that kid or, whatever. You pitch well against the Power 5 team and they find a way to get you to come there. So there's definitely some positives and there's definitely some negatives to the transfer. I think the other thing, too, is you're teaching kids that, hey, if it's not easy or it's not good your first year, well, you might as well just go somewhere else because you're going to get a free transfer. And you're not teaching kids the discipline that they need to be successful, to work through adversity, to be able to earn a spot instead of be given a spot. Those are things that are valuable life lessons that happen, for you down the road. And I look at Ohio State football. Like, there's a lot of guys on that team that don't play right away as freshmen or sophomores, and then they stick out their turn and they get their opportunity to play and they get a chance to play professionally. Like, those are lessons that, you need to learn, to be successful the rest of your life.
Well, in a day-to-day game like baseball, it just the mental grind that you have. I would not want a kid that has decided, oh, hey, I'm gonna scat out of here, and I'm gonna play my mulligan card. It sends it's kind of a bad message. But from your perspective, if the kid doesn't want to be there, you don't want him to be there because there's a chance that kid may make some life miserable for some of the kids that actually want to be there.
Yeah, there's positives and negatives. I mean, there's times when, whether for whatever reason it just doesn't work out with a player, and and a lot of these kids are making decisions on their careers at 15 years old, on where they want to go to school. They commit to a school at 15 or 16. Well, they change a lot in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. So things change. And so I think that it is a positive for, positive experience for those players if they're at a situation that doesn't fit them or that they can go somewhere that might be a better fit for them.
See, I wish that someone would sit back and say, look, you can't even make a commitment to someone, verbal or otherwise, until your junior year. Because the whole thing, you're going to be making a verbal commitment your freshman year. Like you said, a lot of things can happen in those 2 years. To me, a commitment is a commitment, and you shouldn't be making one until your junior year.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just like everything else. There's rules, and then there's ways around them, and so they just, regardless, they would find ways around, being able to do that. So.
Hey, all the best to you this weekend. There's going to be some great baseball played in Chicago, and we're not talking Cubs and White Sox. We're talking UIC and Youngstown State. A heck of a 4-game series awaiting you. Best of luck. Let's bring home a series victory, Skip.
Thanks a lot, Ron. Appreciate it. We're looking forward to talking to you next week with some positive news.
You got it, my friend. See ya.
All right.
All right. Dan Bertolini, he is the manager of the YSU baseball team. In case you have not seen it, and shame on you if you haven't. Oh my goodness, is this team good? 17-11 in the Horizon League, 22-17 overall. The most wins overall since 2010, I believe Dan said. And they, with 12 games left in the league, the Penguins still have 12 league games left. They have already set a record for most wins in a Horizon League season. They broke that record on Sunday with the victory over Oakland. That was the final game of the series that led to the 4-game series sweep by the Penguins. This is a team, the final 8 league games are going to be played at Eastwood, where the Penguins are 10-2 in conference play. They're 10-2 right now. They have a win percentage right now in Horizon League play of .833. You're talking about 7 wins. 6.67 it would be the average or the amount of wins over 8 games that would equal the season win percentage in conference play. 6.67. So I'm going to round it up to 7. You're talking about on pace to go 7-1 in the Horizon League, the final 8 games of the season, which would give the Penguins 24 league wins. If they go 7-1 in the final 8 in the final 8 conference games at Eastwood Field, you're looking at 24 wins. All right, so 24-12. Now, let's assume that, and I don't want to assume, but let's hope the Penguins are able to take 2 out of 4 to split the series with UIC. Do you realize then you're looking at 26-14 for the season? 26-14 for the season, 31-20 overall going into the tournament, because the Penguins would obviously be a tournament team if they were to win 9 of their last 12 games in league play. That would be 26 wins and 14 losses in the league. Oh my goodness. Yes, they would be a threat. They would be a serious threat to win the Horizon League tournament and move on to the NCAA tournament, something the Penguins have only done twice in the history of their Division I program. And again, in the late 90s, they went into a region that included Texas, and they were beaten twice. The last time they went to the tournament, and I want to say it was 2015, either 2015 or 2016, they actually won a game in the double elimination 4-team event. Yeah, and again, in the NCAA tournament, it's 16 sites, 4 teams per region site. You're seeded 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it's a double elimination tournament similar to what we're going to be seeing with the Horizon League tournament. 4-team tournament. The regular season champs would be hosting this tournament when we get to the Horizon League tournament. In all fairness, the series or the tournament is going to probably be played in Dayton because Wright State's going to probably win this division. The conference, I should say. So in the Horizon League tournament, Wright State will be the top seed. Barring a complete collapse, they win the division or the league. So they'll be the number 1 seed. UIC and YSU this weekend battling it out for the 2 seed. Milwaukee right now is sitting at number 4, but they're on a 5-game losing streak. Northern Kentucky is sitting in the 5 hole. They're on a 5-game losing streak. Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Oakland, neither one of those teams look like they're going to get into the top 4. So, it's Youngstown State is in a really good position right now. Youngstown State is in a damn good position right now. And if the Penguins can at least get a split in Chicago, knowing the final 8 games are at home, where the Penguins have been 10-2 league-wise at Eastwood Field, oh, man. Penguins could find themselves in second place when it's all said and done, which, again, as long as the Penguins finish in second or third, they don't play Wright State in the first round of the tournament. Assuming Wright State stays in first place, they would play the 4 seed, which will ultimately, if YSU and UIC continue to play the way they're playing, Wright State would play either Milwaukee or Northern Kentucky in the 1-4 game, and then UIC and YSU would play each other in the 2-3 game. if everything stays as is. But still, a lot of baseball to be played, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Youngstown State takes care of business this weekend against UIC. Hell, if they take 3 out of 4 from UIC, boy, could this team make a hell of a statement. They have the shot, but again, keep in mind, UIC is on an 8-game winning streak, and in those 8 victories, they have beaten Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Milwaukee. In those 8 victories, in those 8 games, UIC's pitching staff has given up only 11 runs in those 8 games. That is a ridiculously impressive statistic for the UIC pitching staff. They're on an 8-game winning streak. They're playing some damn good ball, kids. All right, we'll take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you
by finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
By giving you confidence in your vehicle with the Greenwood Advantage warranty.
By guaranteeing you financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Now, we're going the extra mile for you with an additional $1,500 on your trade, plus the best selection of new and used vehicles in the area.
Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and tell us how we can go the extra mile for you.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. With you till a couple more minutes, about 10 more minutes, and then we give way to the good folks at Power Hour. They will take you through the 3 o'clock hour. And again, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Again, Canfield Boardman not going to be playing baseball. I have been told that Boardman is out of commission for a little bit, unfortunately. They are quarantined for a bit, and that's a damn shame, especially since yesterday's game was fun, and unfortunately, again, Boardman didn't exactly play pristine defense in the first inning, and it led to the Cardinals getting a 3 spot in the top of the inning, but Boardman came back top of the first, and Boardman came back in the home half when they got a bases loaded, bases clearing double up the left center field alley from Anthony Buto to tie the ball game up at 3. Canfield retook the lead on a sacrifice fly by Havrilla. And Canfield went on to win the ball game 5-3. And again, unfortunately, Boardman is quarantined until early May, so they are they're not going to be able to play for a little bit. And now that's kind of a tough thing to do right now, considering the fact, again, the playoffs are going to begin. And I want to make sure I have this right, because I'm not going to be doing any tournament games because I'm not a varsity official yet. So I've been doing some JV games. From what I understand, the tournaments are not going to start until May the 17th. May the 17th will be the opening of the OHSAA baseball tournaments, and again, the championships will be played at Canal Park, the home of the Akron Rubber Ducks, and that'll be in mid-June, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think the districts will get underway the week of May the 24th. The regionals will be the week of May the 31st, and the state finals would be the weekend of June 10th, 11th, and 12th. If I'm correct in this, I believe it's the weekend of Thursday the 10th, Friday the 11th, Saturday the 12th is when they would play the state championship, state semifinals, and the state championship games on that weekend. And it might bleed over into Sunday the 13th. With no idea on that, but the tournaments itself don't begin until Monday, May the 17th. Well, I've gotten word that Boardman is quarantined until early May. That's not giving them a lot of time to get some baseball play. Now, hopefully, they're in the 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks that they get out of quarantine. Hopefully, they'll be able to play as many games as possible, and that, of course, is weather related. Hopefully, the weather will cooperate, and they'll be able to play the amount of games that they're hoping to get in before the tournaments begin on the 17th of May. So, unfortunately, the Boardman-Canfield game postponed because Boardman is quarantined. So, hopefully, fingers crossed that everything gets back to normal as quickly as possible for those kids. And unfortunately, this is. Sadly, this is where we are. Hopefully, knock on wood, we're in the home stretch of kicking COVID to the curb once and for all. At least, knock on wood. Hopefully, that is the case. So hopefully, we'll see what happens. But to Canfield's credit, a few hours ago, Canfield. Posting, hey, we're looking for a game on this beautiful day due to a late cancellation. If anyone's looking to play, please contact us. Well, that would be nice if we can get someone to play the Canfield Cardinals today. That would be fantastic. All right, we'll take a timeout and put the wraps on this Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point. As we get set to close up shop, we will run through tonight's schedule, or late this afternoon, early this evening. The schedule is like this. At 4:45 this afternoon, South Range will be playing Struthers in Struthers. The Raiders took a 6-0 victory over Struthers yesterday behind a 17-strikeout, 1-walk performance by Brandon Mikos. 5 o'clock baseball starts. Liberty is at LeBray. Carrollton is at Salem. Canton South is at West Branch. 7 o'clock under the lights at Bobsine Park in beautiful Struthers. It's the Holy War. Ursuline will be hosting Cardinal Mooney. Those are your baseball games on the network today and this evening. One softball game will be played at Canfield The Boardman Spartans will be playing the Canfield Cardinals in Canfield. That is a 5 o'clock start in softball. Again, the baseball game postponed as Boardman is now quarantined until early May. And, oh boy, given the fact that the tournaments start on May the 17th, that's a limited amount of opportunities for Boardman to get a bunch of games in. And you got to hope and pray that Mother Nature cooperates in the week and a half that Boardman has between the end of their quarantine and the start of the tournament. It's going to be tough. So hopefully they'll be able to get as many games in as possible. But the Boardman-Canfield game postponed. That game was to be played in Canfield. The baseball game, softball game will be played. All right, Power Hour is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We will talk tomorrow on a Wednesday edition. Anthony Hartwig will be here as well on a Wednesday edition of Running Points. Until then, have a great rest of your Tuesday, everyone.